Greetings and salutations, dwellers of the internet. My name is Jonathan, and I like to play video games. More specifically, dark, gritty video games that help us to explore the inner psyche of man, and basically anything with lots of violence and blood and gore. And explosions, of course, can't forget explosions. Can we have some explosions? Thank you. Why don't we all just take a moment and check out one of the more manly games I've been playing recently. It's pretty impressive, so I hope you don't get jealous. My parents won't let me buy any M-rated games. Did somebody say manly video games? Hipster Jonathan, what are you doing here? Somebody had to move the plot along. Where's that coming from? Oh. What a lazy scriptwriter. Listen, kid. This really isn't working out. I've been talking with the other Jonathans, and they say you look like a nerd because you play all these sissy, non-manly video games. That really destroyed my self-esteem. Thanks. So, do you have any video games that can help make me cooler? I'm obviously not doing myself many favors here. I have just the thing. It's a video game so manly, you'll grow facial hair while playing it. It's a game about managing prisons and being an architect. I like to call it Prison Architect. This game's been sitting on my computer for about a few months now. I didn't have a lot of games just sitting around since there's always something on sale. But since the full version was just released about a week ago on Steam, I thought I'd give it a look-see. The title describes the game perfectly. You're an architect who designs prisons. Sounds simple, and based on the graphics you'd be forgiven for thinking that. But there's actually a lot of depth and micromanaging you need to do to fully enjoy this game. So you're over here making your own prison. Let's call it Make Good Choices. Sounds fitting. All you have to do is make a cell for those dirty prisoners, lock them up, hire a cop, and call it a day. Right? Wrong. You gotta make sure there's power to run the facilities. There needs to be food for everyone. You need to hire people to cook the food. There need to be enough police officers staffed in case of a riot. You need to install sprinkler systems when something inevitably catches on fire. Provide recreational activities for the inmates. Manage your prison's budget. Provide running water for plumbing and showering, etc., etc. Oh, and you also do need to build cells for your inmates. That's an actual mechanic as well. You've definitely got to appreciate what the game sets out to do. Whether or not you have fun with this style of gameplay, the game will certainly give you a newfound respect for the work that goes into managing our prison systems. Let's take a look at what I've been working on. I've only been playing for a couple of hours, but I'm already a pro at it. Take this for example. I installed a psychiatric ward to help my inmates make good choices. So now all my prisoners will be nice to each other and benefit society. Never mind, moving on. Or, what about this time when I cut off the sprinkler system so the prison could save money on its water bill? Just walk it off, pal. You'll be good, you'll be good. I guess you could say that my prison-making skills are on fire. I'm sorry. All jokes aside, it takes a lot of work to get your prisons running. But after you actually set a couple of buildings on fire, it's incredibly satisfying to turn the smoldering heaps of ruins into a state-of-the-art kitchen or dining hall. There's a sense of weight and accomplishment behind your actions because every action you commit to takes a long amount of time to accomplish. If your building's on fire, for example, you have to call the fire department to put it out, then once it's safe to approach, have the workers clear out the debris, plot a foundation for a new building, hire more workers to complete the construction, and of course, furnish the inside of the building for the staff and/or the inmates. The entire scenario probably took about 10 minutes of real-life time to complete. Whether or not you're the kind of person who appreciates this do-it-yourself approach, the lack of hand-holding and freedom you're given sets up some very interesting scenarios. Take this level, for example. These prisoners have been acting naughty, and they were trying to stab my police officers. I didn't like this very much, so I put them on a new diet. A lead diet, that is. Once I subdued the prisoners, I had to create an infirmary to treat the survivors. Then I had to call in the firefighters to put out the fires that started. I also needed to create a morgue because all the dead people would start to stink up the place. After that, I also had to staff a work crew and new police officers to compensate for the ones I lost. I also had to rescue the CEO of the prison before he got shot to death. Well, 4 out of 5 isn't bad, right? You've probably been able to see from all my listing that you have to do a ton of work to get anything done in this game. Admittedly, it can get sorta boring working on the same project several times in a row, but there's also a campaign with special win states that will give you some more variety. Institutionalizing the nation's less than savory folks can be very stressful, so if you ever want to break from that responsibility, there's also a mode called Prison Escape. In this mode, you play as one of the inmates from your own prison, and you try to bust out. You can even download another player's prison online, so there should always be a new prison to try and escape from. This is where the game starts to become a bit like an RPG, because you can recruit other prisoners, you can upgrade their stats, equip weapons, and then attempt to stick it to the man and bust out of whatever prison you find yourself in. In order to level up your prisoners and recruit other inmates, you use a currency called Reputation. This is earned by, and I kid you not, punching things. It can be your toilet, cops, or even a puppy. In this world, you live or die by how well you can start a smackdown. One of the punishments for breaking the rules is serving time in solitary confinement. After my first attempt to break out, I was stuck in this cell for 14 game hours. This takes about maybe 3 or 4 minutes in real world time. You can spend one of your reputation points to speed up the clock, so this is actually a very minor penalty. Come to think of it, there really isn't any sort of major consequence for breaking the rules in the prison system. With one of my characters, I killed a cop, stole his gun, and proceeded to light up the place. I was running low on health, so I stopped fighting, and for my punishment, I was sent to solitary confinement for 30 hours. This cop killing spree netted me about 70 reputation points, so I spent one, and then was immediately released to resume my killing rampage. Once I recognized this exploit, I started a loop. Kill the prison staff, get arrested, spend a reputation point, repeat ad nauseum. I continued this until I earned enough points to hire a small army, and then we busted out. It just comes to show, kids, crime always pays. So, to conclude, Prison Architect. Really good game, I enjoyed it. It had a lot of really cool ideas and features. I've never played a prison sim before, so that's pretty original in itself. I really like the art style. The art style is really cool. What else? I mean, there's just a bunch of cool stuff overall. The only really big issue for me was that it got a little bit repetitive, but the multiple campaign modes and the online, matchmaking and stuff really helped to alleviate the boredom. So, overall, really great game. You can pick it up for about $30, and I give it an 8 out of 10.